For the first 34 years of his life, Michael Fosberg believed he was white. Then he discovered his African-American heritage. This life-changing event led to a remarkable journey of self-discovery. He writes about it in his new book, Nobody Wants to Talk About It, Race Identity and the Difficulties in Forging Meaningful Conversations. And he joins us this morning from his home here in Chicago via Zoom. Good morning.
Good morning, Tanya.
This is actually your second book, right? Your first book was called Incognito. That was about the actual experience of discovering that you were.
That's correct. Yes, it was a memoir based on my journey.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so this book is called Nobody Wants to Talk About It. So let's get to it. Why doesn't anybody want to talk about race?
Well, it's extremely complicated, but let's start with the fact that it's an uncomfortable conversation.
Sure.
You know, everybody wants to feel like they want to talk about it, but they can't talk about it because it's extremely uncomfortable, and so we avoid it. So what I'm trying to suggest is that there are ways that we can go about doing it. That's what the book is about, is giving people tools to have that conversation. And one of those tools is we need to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, I like that that assertion there, because when people realize that this is not going to be easy, it kind of almost prepares them. It's almost like you put your seatbelt on and get ready for that ride. You know, and you wrote this book not just out of the simple experience. Well, I shouldn't say simple, it's less than anything simple, but out of the experience of learning that your father was black, your mother was white, but you also put on a one-man show, and you went around the country delivering this play and engaging people's reaction. So this is based on actual getting feedback from people about this discussion.
That's absolutely right. So once I took this journey of discovering my father and my racial identity. I transformed it into a one-man play, and I started out performing that in theaters, and then it sort of graduated into performing for educational institutions, high schools, colleges, and then for corporations and government agencies. And following each presentation, which is about 50 minutes, over which I portray over a dozen different characters from my family, following the presentation, I then lead and guide a discussion, a dialogue about how we look at ourselves and how we look at other people. And so now I'm sort of in what would be considered or called the diversity, equity, and inclusion space. Work with corporations and government agencies.
You know, I have to ask you, I mean, for 34 years, you thought you were white, then you find out that your father is black. That makes you, when I was growing up, one drop of black blood made you black. I mean, nowadays people call it biracial, but we called it black. So after realizing you were black, how did your life change? I mean, did you feel people treated you differently, or did you look back on life and realize you were treated differently? How did your life change?
Well, it's funny, I get asked that question. I would have to say that my life has become richer and fuller because I have this whole new racial identity, this whole wonderful, embracing family. And of course, I do what I do for a living now. I get to go around the country. I do about 60, 70 presentations a year. I tell my story in the form of the arts, a one-man play. And then I get to help people have this very difficult conversation. And I can't tell you how honored I feel, how blessed I feel to be in that position. As a biracial individual, there are many of us across the country, across the world. We have a unique situation to be a bridge, to help people across race, across ethnicity, to have this conversation.
Do you find that people really want to have this conversation, or are they being forced to have the conversation because, say, companies are requiring it, or educational institutions are requiring it as part of their diversity training? How many people actually want to engage in this conversation?
Well, I guess that's the reason the title of the book, Nobody Wants to Talk About It. I think more people have wanted to talk about it since the murder of George Floyd. But even just this morning, I read in the news that the government is going to stop funding any kind of racial sensitivity programming in their in any federal agencies, which I just did a program this week for a federal agency. So it'll be interesting how that plays itself out. But I think there is a desire to have the conversation, but people don't have the tools to have it, and thus the reason to write the book, to give people tools to have it.
One thing that you discovered is once people are able to connect on a personal level, once they find out that they do actually have something in common, it's a little easier to have the conversation and maybe a little easier to see that person's point of view.
That's right. This is what's known in academic circles as intergroup contact theory. And that is the proven theory that by sharing our personal stories across majority and minority populations, we can break down the prejudices that exist between us because we discover that we have a lot more in common than we have different. And that's a fact.
Yeah, and I think that's what people need to hold on to as we try to go and navigate these new times, these new turbulent times.
Yes.
And Michael, you have given us a great tool. Nobody wants to talk about it, race, identity, and the difficulties in forging meaningful conversations. Thank you for writing the book, and thank you for joining us again this morning. If you'd like more information about this book and how to find it, you can just go online to incognitotheplay.com. and it'll help you in trying to have this most difficult conversation. Michael, thank you again for joining us this morning.